Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I really hope you had a lovely weekend, and I want to start off the week with you on 9 things that you can do to stop your people-pleasing habits, because people-pleasing is painful. I mean, if you feel like you've been taken advantage of or used a lot of the time because you can't say no to people, this is only a video for more or less extreme scenarios of people pleasing where you just can never say no, and you really feel like it's impacting your personal life and your achievements and your goals and things like that. And of course, it's really great to help your family and friends, and you should help them and you should say yes, which is why I'm just creating a little disclaimer saying that this is only if you feel like you do it like way too often or things like that. And I really hope that these things will help you guys out. I don't want to ramble on. I want to get straight to the point. But before we get started, I want you to pause this video and read if the following symptoms are relatable to you. Try to focus on if most of them are, then you are probably a people pleaser. And yeah, just really assess yourself before you continue watching this video. Right, so for the people that have stayed, welcome, my people pleasers. So number 1 is have actual things to do. And what I mean by that is just get busy, but get busy for yourself. Like, have deadlines that you set for yourself, have a job, have people to meet, have tasks you want to complete in your own time or things like that, so that when people ask you to do something, you won't actually have to create a fake scenario, and that adds to the guilt of a people pleaser. Like, say someone asks you to do something and you already feel bad to say no, so you're more inclined to say yes. But if you have set a genuine schedule for yourself, then having real things to do and not having to lie about it will reduce your sense of guilt. So you can easily have a reason to back up your no. And the things that you actually do should be beneficial for your future, your life. It should be about you. It's not necessarily working on a business. It can be going to a beauty appointment. It has to be about you, so you get used to doing things for yourself as well. And yeah, it might feel bad to say no because it's, for you, but you've already booked that appointment or you've already written that in your calendar, and it sucks at the end of the day when you look at the things that you had to do and you didn't do them. So you're more inclined to say no and give a true reason why you can't do it. And the guilt will just not be the same as to having said no, but giving a fake scenario. So number 2 is take part in a little role play. So imagine you were hired by a greater power, whatever that greater power is in your mind, whether that's God, whether that's the universe, or some kind of energy in space. Imagine you were hired by them and you were brought down to life to manage a body, an empty body, and you are the mind, you are the consciousness that is sent to manage it. You're not really doing your job well if you're prioritizing other bodies before your own, right? Like in real life, you'd be fired for that because you're not doing your job very well. So why do you do that? Aren't you fired? If you're here to manage your body, you were put in it for the sole purpose of making sure that it is happy, for making sure that it's in a good space, mentally, physically. It makes its own money, it has its own dreams, it has its own goals. Pretend like you have to manage your body, and if you put other bodies before your own, you're fired. That's done. You're sent back to space. And that was all for nothing, right? If you constantly prioritize the needs of others, like, they have their own managers. They can help themselves. You can also help them, but only after you help yourself first, because how do you help someone fully if you don't help yourself before them? When you're crashing on a plane, they tell you to put the mask on first because you're about to lose your consciousness. And then you help the other person, because if you don't help yourself, you can't help other people, right? You have responsibility over whatever body you've been placed in. And everyone's given a manager. It's not like, oh, this poor body has no manager, doesn't know what to do in life, let me help them first. No, they have their own manager. Maybe it's a shitty manager, but that's on them. Like, you can help them, but after you make sure that your body's happy, your body has things to do, your body has a future to look forward to, and only then consider helping others if it's like a huge help, that they're asking for. And at the end of the day, when you die and you're sent back up there and your body's left behind, are you going to live in regret that you didn't do enough for them, or are you going to be happy? So right now, while you're in that body, while you're managing, while you're employed, make sure you do the job well. Number 3 is start talking. Start opening, closing your mouth. Don't just sit there and watch other people talk about their life, their chores, their duties, their responsibilities. No, you also have things you can talk about, right? But you just don't, because you know that people love talking about themselves. And when they love talking about themselves, they're having a great time around you, right? And you love that because you love giving people a good time. You love pleasing them. You love making sure that they have positive memories around you and about you. So you just sit there and you let them have their moment. But then what happens? Then they're like, oh, how are you? And like, what are you up to? Oh, I'm great, you know, nothing much, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that's basically saying, I have no life, I have nothing to do, I'm here for you. Whenever, wherever. Life is never going to be about you if that is the way you go about it. You're never going to be about you. People are less likely to take advantage of you if you are sharing that you are also busy with life. So just start doing that. Start talking about yourself. Start sharing your difficulties, your gains, your future dreams, so that people see you as a busy individual with, you know, some kind of goal in life. And if people think about you like that, and you're the type of people pleaser that takes other people's opinions about you seriously, because you don't really have like this strong sense of self, then you're also more likely to think about yourself like that, right? So just play into your people pleasing habits a little bit so that you can think about yourself positively. If you can't completely get rid of your people pleasing habits, you got to live with them in a very smart way. You got to manipulate it a bit. Number 4 is to get comfortable with silence. When people are talking to you and like sharing stories, instead of like when they take gaps in their, I guess, monologue, you know, because they're thinking of something, instead of going, yeah, like to avoid that like silence because you're so uncomfortable with it, really like push yourself to like not say anything and like practice it. Like just try to fight that silence and find comfort in it. You need to understand that silence is good. And I know you're uncomfortable with it, but when you're uncomfortable with it, you make yourself look stupid by using filler words that you might either regret or that are just very unnecessary. Or whether that's something that you've done that you didn't necessarily do something wrong, but they're like really, you know, blaming you for something, and you end up just saying sorry because there's a silence and you don't know what else to say. You're just like, yeah, you're right, sorry about that, I really didn't mean to, blah, blah, because they're just taking so long to like get to their next point. You don't really even listen or process it because you're so afraid of that silence. And in silence, you can really just process what it is that you need to do, putting your own needs first and reminding yourself. And you can only really do that if you give your brain enough time to process that and to remind yourself that and to think about it. If someone's asked you to do something and you instantly are like, I think I can, you haven't even thought about it, right? Like you're instantly just saying yes, but can you really do it? And it's so much worse to disappoint them later when you realize you can't. So just take a moment, be silent for a bit. It's gonna be okay. No one's gonna kill you. And really think about it. Can you really do it? So number 5 is increase your sense of self. So I feel like a lot of people pleasers, you're either born with a lack of sense of self or a lack of strong sense of self, or because you always put other people's journeys and lives first, you kind of add to that because you kind of become diluted in your own mind, in your own life, right? Because you're always focusing on other people. You don't feel like a person with their own things to do, with their own responsibilities, with their own life. I would suggest that you need to start doing things that make you feel more. A strong sense of self, I would say, usually comes from having strong sensations, whether that's thoughts, whether that's having strong opinions, having strong feelings. And I feel like even though it's really hard to change having strong thoughts and opinions about things, about life, about certain topics, because I feel like it comes with having strong amounts of knowledge, so high amounts of knowledge on certain topics and things like that for you to gain strong opinions and thoughts about it. So the one thing that I want to immediately help you change from this video is to have strong feelings and emotions about things. Or not necessarily emotions, but sensations. That is something that you can start immediately working on and changing. So I would suggest doing activities that release endorphins, because when you release endorphins, you feel happy. And you don't just feel happy, you feel happy about yourself. You feel proud of yourself. You feel really fulfilled and pleasantly overwhelmed as well, which is really positive, strong feelings. And activities that can help you release these endorphins are things like working out, you know, going to the gym. You always get this like happy feeling after you've worked out, and that's the addictive part, and that's why people keep going to the gym. And it's a very healthy activity on its own, but it also makes you feel so good about yourself. So why wouldn't you do that, you know? Other things, if you don't want to go to the gym, is like walking in the park, taking part in enjoyable routines, whether that's a nice bedtime routine or a nice morning routine that you've created for yourself and following that. Other things are making money, you know, creating a business, working on a business, or getting a job, and like that income that you get, that salary that you get, it makes you feel good about yourself. And you're doing something positive, you know, you're making money, you're able to sustain your future, your life, you know, doing things that release endorphins that make you feel good about yourself, and emphasizing that self-focus and that feeling of being happy about yourself, and everything's just about yourself and the self and the sense of self, and like it's gonna make you feel your presence and your existence more if you're feeling good about it. And so when people are asking you to like help again with something about themselves, you're gonna be like, okay, but I miss making myself feel good. And I don't mean like, because obviously people pleasers feel good about helping other people. Like, I get that part, but nothing compares to doing something for yourself that will help you in the future. So number 6 is finding peace within conflict. Sounds ironic, but hear me out. If you're setting boundaries that the people around you aren't happy with, and the boundaries are for reasons that are completely valid and reasonable, and they're just not happy with it because that means you do less for them and you have less time for them, right? Then you will easily see the people that genuinely care about you and your well-being, and you will be able to differentiate them from the narcissists and the more like self-centered people that care about you because of the things that you do for them rather than the things that you also achieve for yourself in your own time. You don't want people to heavily depend on you unless they're, you know, your children, or they physically rely on you, or they're the elderly. The people that genuinely care about you should be able to empathize with you when you need your own space, your own time, when you want to focus on yourself and your own goals. The people that can't empathize are not people worth having around. So those are people that are worth cutting. Number 7 is declining is only rude if you decline rudely, right? I feel like people pleasers have this misconception that in order to be liked, in order to be thought positively of, you have to always say yes, you have to accept, you have to be there all the time, whatever it is, whatever you have going on. Like, I can't lose this friend, I have to be there, I have to say yes, I have to go, right? But no, declining is not a bad thing. It's not rude. It's not going to make you lose friends. It just means you have your own commitments too, right? Just as they have theirs, but they've just invited you to them. So declining is only bad if you do it in a bad way. You have to understand that if you say, no, I'm so sorry, I really wish I could be there, that is just as good as saying yes. Like, that is so nice. So you can't say no in a nice way, and no one can hold you against it. Number 8 is delay your response. And yeah, you might say, Melissa, you already discussed this. You were talking about this whole silence thing, being comfortable silence. No, guys, this is a different point, I promise you. So my advice when you're trying to delay your response is to just tell people that you're going to go and check your schedule, to double check whether you're free around that time or not. You feel like saying yes in the moment because you don't want to disappoint them, because as people pleasers, we don't like disappointing. So you're more inclined to say yes in the moment. But if you just tell them, oh, I'd love to, let me just double check and just check my schedule and get back to you because I might not be free, is a softer way of saying I might not be able to, but, you know, let me just double check, and it buys you more time to like come up with an excuse or just, you know, just say, no, I can't, I'm sorry. It kind of like puts less pressure on you to say yes because you're giving yourself that time, and it also gives them time to change their facial expression back to neutral from that like really desperate look that makes you say yes. Number 9, think about little you. Next time you put other people's dreams, tasks, responsibilities above yours, think about what you're doing to your child self. Think about what you're doing to that child's future. Don't think about yourself now. Think about your previous version. Are you really going to put other people before you, before little you, before your 8-year-old self who really depends on you, who really envisions you to set up a good future for them and to take care of them and to nourish them well? In fact, anytime you talk negatively about yourself, just think about how much you're hurting the younger version of you, right? And how much you're continuing to hurt them. I'm gonna leave you guys with that. I'm so sorry, but that is the only way change will start happening, is when it really hits deep. Do let me know which point spoke to you most. I'm really interested in that. And let me know what other videos you want to see next. But thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.